Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and as we're probably a couple of weeks away from a new balance patch, I thought I would give you guys updated deck lists to help you climb for the end of the month, as well as early August into August, as yeah, we have had a week go by. A lot of these decks have gotten better refined, and you'll have a lot better climb playing some of these, whether it's standard or wild, or trying to hit silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or legend. So hopefully we get a patch pretty soon, but most likely we're stuck with these very, very fun decks. Very new and very fun decks. Anyways, if you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like as it helps the channel out a ton. Plus, you want to stay tuned for when we, when Hearthstone is saved with just one more nerf, right? It'll do it, totally. Anyways, the first deck, which is arguably the best deck in all of Hearthstone, especially at high legend, but even at legend itself, it only falls off like diamond through legend because you need to play it well, is Cycle Rogue, which has two new cards this expansion in Platosaur, which is 1 mana draw card, which is pretty good. Sometimes you'll discard it, but you don't really care. And Cultist Map, which is often a 0 mana draw to with your prep. And of course, the rest of the deck is still the same as it's been for quite a while. Twisted Webweaver draws you a billion cards. Dubious Purchase draws you a bunch of cards. You cheat out Playhouse Giants. You cheat out basically the buffed Ever-Burning Phoenix. The stat buff is actually outweighed the repetitive nerf of being able to replay it, right? Like, it just, I don't know if they play tested that nerf, and it has not worked out where this deck is actually better than it was before, and with an optimal draw, basically loses to nothing as early Giants, almost no deck can answer, and in the late game, you can OTK with like Asteroids, with Incendious Eruptions. It can kind of do it all, and including fatiguing on like turns 5 and 6. Pretty likely nerf candidate again whenever that next balance patch comes around. But for now, if you want to play it, give it a go. It is pretty good. As is Handbuff Hunter, another scam deck. You'll notice a lot of scams on this list. The main thing you want to do in this deck, get reserve spot, hit it on a Rumbling Bishop or your mythical Rune Bear. Just don't draw Gilly. Gilly's such a bad draw because it can eat those buffs, make discounts go away. You have the new card in here, Supreme Dynamancy, where let's say I missed my ban buff turn, well, I could go RC Rampage into Dynamancy and do some pretty good stuff, and it also buffs up the Rune Bear. So you have a little bit more end game flexibility that this deck didn't have before the expansion, where yeah, this Supreme Dynamancy makes our RC Rampage a heck of a lot better, and you can win in multiple ways. And as a result, yeah, one of the best decks in every rank bracket, top 1k through diamond through legend, bronze through gold, scamming gigantic stats, is pretty good. Who would have guessed? And it's again yet another stupid scam deck I wish we could delete. I wish almost all these decks we could delete it, I'm not gonna lie. Beast Hunter, not so much though. Really good aggressive deck, plays for board, a lot of early cheap beasts in the deck. You're running all beasts, so fetch outside of one card will always draw two, right? The exception is the new card in here, City Chief Esha, which gives all your beasts +2/+2. So a really good buff, but obviously stuff like RC Rampage into Supreme Dynamancy, this card just incredible. I thought it looked really good when I reviewed it, and yeah, it's a really good card. And you've got Ancient Raptor in here. And by the way, we only have one golden. Let's fix that. Even though I'm probably not going to play the deck, we can't have a deck recommendations video without fully golden, right? So yeah, really good deck, one that I would not think would get nerfed. It's just a solid aggro deck, which Hearthstone needs more of to keep some of this stuff in check, the scam stuff. Delete the scam, let aggro be all right, let the control counter the aggro. I feel like we're in a much more healthy world, but that's not really the state we're at right now. And speaking of aggro decks, this arena pile of garbage is just fast enough to beat those scam decks. That's the main incentive of playing a deck that, yes, hard runs Wisp, Firefly, Beaming Sidekick. You got your Busy Bot to buff up all those cheap one attack minions, right? Maze Guide, Rock Skipper, that's the idea. Just try and stick an early board and then win with Crusader Aura or Flash Sale, cheat out Zilliax. That's literally the deck, right? Like all these super scam decks that are dominating the meta have made a deck like this pretty good because the actual control and like mid-range options to try and beat this type of thing can't really exist because of all these scam decks. So something this bad looking is pretty good in this meta. meta, and obviously really cheap deck too. So you're probably very likely to have most of these cards. Flash Sale's an epic. Ziliax is a legendary that's always worth crafting. So overall, pretty cheap deck if you're looking to climb and counter the meta of pure scam. Speaking of that, we have another scam deck, Dorian Warlock, where the idea of this deck is just get to Puppet Master Dorian, hit Cursed Catacombs, cheat out an Agabagan, and then cheat out whether it's Fyrakk or Ysera for more mana, or Kerrigan, something big to combo, possibly OTK, and you have a bit of a defensive shell in there with your Ultralisk Cavern, your Consume, some board clears, a bit of ramp to get to there faster, but it's a pure scam deck. If you draw Agabagan, your likelihood of winning goes down tremendously, and this deck has fallen off a bit more as you've seen these aggro decks are in there purely to like counter this stuff, and some control options that popped up, which we'll talk about, that be able to deal with it. But yeah, another scam deck, really good, very expensive. I would not go out of my way to crafting it at all because it's a super likely nerf candidate for that next balance patch. So only play it, in my opinion, if you have the cards. I don't think you should be crafting like Fractured Power and all these other legendaries outside of if you're doing it specifically for this deck, because there's a good chance that, yeah, Dorian gets hit or something, right? And then the deck is dead. So be aware of that. And another scam deck, I think it's the last one for a little bit here, but Mech Warrior has emerged, a deck that really hasn't taken off at any point, but with new additions like Elise the Navigator, this card is just insane, right? Get that copy location, you're getting another cube, you're getting another target dummy, you're getting another, like, it's really solid, right? That's what's really put this deck over the top, as well as other decks being nerfed, but people seem to forget, yeah, this card, or this deck got a huge key addition that really matters, as well as another one of Umbra, right? Umbra proccing those death rattles, whether it's testing dummy in particular, is really good. And of course you can cheat out these mechs early with a part scrapper, and we're even running one Crazed Alchemist for the chance that, yeah, a turtle sticks on the board, and that's basically an OTK, right? An OTK, and you could cheat out a bunch of mana. You could chemical spill out either on Killiax, I believe it's on Killiax, right? Yeah, on Killiax, or the turtle itself, which is obviously very good plays and one of the better decks in the meta. Next, we have Aggro Demon Hunter. Already control players loving this. All the and all quest enjoyers, right? Aggro DH got nerfed, double tapped, right? Stock Puppet, Slither Spear, and Ball Hog both got nerfed, and the deck's still pretty competitive. It's not as good as it was, not like the best deck in the meta, but it's still like a tier 2 deck. You can absolutely climb with it, and if you have these cards, give it a go. It's very fast, very aggressive, counter a lot of these scam decks by just killing them. Red carding their big thing, right? That can help out a lot, and you have the new card in here, Insect Claw and Infestation, to push more damage. Insect Claw is just so good at helping control the board. I can't believe people thought this wouldn't be good. I'm pretty sure I rated high, but I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, really good deck if you're looking to climb. Oh god, another disgusting deck that just won't go away. Armor Demon Hunter keeps climbing up in the win rate. It keeps getting better again, which is brutal because it's just gross. Where you want your defense crystal to die, then you want to bring it back with your ferocious Fellbat. You can cube all that up, keep getting more and more starships, Exodar for like an OTK possibly, or just gain 1 billion armor and never die, right? That's the idea. Return Policy can bring all this stuff back. You got like Infestation in there as a new card to help deal with early game, and people have figured out that, yeah, play a Dissolving Ooze and couple up even more stats with everything, right? You destroy that giant starship, you can kill somebody with that buff and do absolutely disgusting stuff. Whether you just throw it on Kane, right? You can just throw it on Kane and do absurd damage. It can help you get that Dissolving Ooze achievement done if you're looking for that. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Armor Demon Hunter at all. It's disgusting, but it's doing well, so that's what I do. I recommend. These videos are not for decks I like for the most part. It's what decks are gonna help you climb, and yes, this deck can do it. So again, I do have to recommend it. Protos Priest has fallen off since the latest patch was looking like the best deck, and now as people have figured more and more out, it's still very good because Resuscitate is an absolutely disgusting card, bringing back cards like Void Ray, your Photon Cannon, your Catch of the Day. Everything's tutored, whether it's your fishing rod, your bird watching, your chrono boost, and in the late game, you're playing extremely cheap motherships, or playing out the cheap Protoss abilities you get, and then you can Umbra and get even more. So against the slower decks, the value is like overload. It's a real control killer, this deck. It's probably why it drove me so crazy when I kept facing it on day one, but it falls off against a lot of these other scan decks and early stat decks because it doesn't have the best removal in the world, doesn't have the best AoE. That's why I have like Shadow and Ruin in here. That's its main weakness. But overall, yeah, I think the only real new card is Resuscitate, but it's a hell of a card and it's doing some good work. I guess you could count Umbra because it is part of this expansion as well. Spell damage Druid, still really good. For some reason, Amir Drizzle keeps dodging nerfs, and I don't know if that would even make the deck not playable because like the deck's still really good. The idea, of course, you ramp up with new heights, draw your deck, whether it's through Oaken Summons into your Ethereal Oracle, and then you have Alonius for like your OTK with your files, your Incendious Eruptions, and yeah, that location can do so much work. You want this in your opener so bad. The mulligan win rate on this card is higher than any other card in Hearthstone. It is that good. Outside of maybe Dorian, I haven't looked at the stats lately, but it looked like a week ago and it was a mirror. Maybe it's fallen off. I don't know. But regardless, yeah, nothing really new in this deck at all. Some builds run Elise, some don't. I feel like the highest win rate ones don't, so I'm recommending the non-Elise one. Plus, it's cheaper. If you don't have, you should have Elise. It's a great card, but if you don't, you could go Ethereal Oracle. Wheel Warlock also doing really well. This is more at High Legend. I see the win rates. This is arguably the best deck at High Legend, one of the best ones where, again, Elise is helping us out, mostly just to copy, I believe, you want the Ancient of Yore. There's no Starship stuff in this one. It is purely draw through your deck, gain a ton of armor through Ancient of Yore, Cursed Campaign, Eternal Layover, all that stuff, stall with like freezes, disrupt with Rat, wheel and kill Jaden, which I'm sure nobody is sick of, and Ceaseless to clear the board as you do all of that. And yeah, it's doing really well still as gaining 1 billion armor as a Warlock like we have done for years, of course, right? Totally. Is pretty effective, and yeah, Wheel has that finality, right? It can crush on those control decks, and there is some validity, some clearing of the big stuff when you have Ultralisk Caverns and Eternal Layover. And we also have the Fast Quest Warlock still doing pretty well. Like, it's not top tier, but it's a playable deck where you just want to get this new quest, Escape the Underfell, is done as quickly as possible by playing cards like Clumsy Steward, by playing the Solarium, by playing the new location, Petal Biome, and of course, you got just a bunch of damage. Horizon's Edge can push a bunch of damage. Corpsicle can push a bunch of damage, and of course, the charge minions you can get from your quest reward can do a lot, and just play like wisps, you know, just cheap stuff to throw away that you get, you draw, so you don't have to worry about it when it's temporary. And it's not like top tier, but it's like a tier 2, tier 3 deck. And at the very bottom, we have our control options. We have some control options. Triple Blood is actually doing really well at High Legend and pretty decent at Diamond through Legend. This is certainly a valid deck pick. Even the Demolition Renovator in here for some tech against Elise locations as well as Amir Drizzle. Elise is in here, of course, because it's such a good card with our Starships in particular, getting extra pieces, getting more Ancient of Yours. We also have High Cultist Heron just to cheat out more like Starship pieces. That's totally fine. You have no issue with that. You get, you know, whether it's Soulbound Spire, you're getting your Arcanite Defense Crystal, feels pretty good to get out of your deck. And you have the clears like a Poison Breath, Wild Pyro, some healing with Vampiric Blood, Nomelia and Orbital Moon. Very similar to before the expansion came out, just a couple new additions, but it's doing well. And let me know, do you want a new video? We haven't done a DK video in a while. I might do one on this tomorrow. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see some more Triple Blood Death Knight. And Quest Warrior. Quest Warrior is playable. It's not amazing, but it's a control option which runs the new quests. We have 2 old quest decks in this video, and no, I'm not recommending Paladin because it just isn't good. And like any rank bracket to climb, there's better options. Ziliax, you got Virus, perfect module, so the Unkiliax, which you can bring back with Hydration Station. Basically, yeah, it's the Taunt Warrior thing. Cheat out your turtle, you got Am the Hungry, bring all that back, and then you have the late game of your quest, right? And it can give you Time Warp, which can help you kill people with like Galvadon. I've also seen Starship versions of this deck that builds a big Starship, and the idea is to take your Time Warp, launch the Starship, and kill your opponent. That's a valid option, but it feels like it doesn't do as well as the pure taunt package, which utilizes Elise so damn well. But overall, yeah, very polarizing. I feel like this deck, whenever I played it, I just barely managed 50%. And I look at the win rates for it, it's about the same, around 50%. Not the best climbing deck, but those are the control. I want to give you guys some control options, and that's literally it. Blood DK, very recommended. Quest Warrior, not so much. And if you want to call Wheel Warlock a control deck, it's pretty recommended as well, but that's about it. For Wild, obviously not a ton has changed. Libram Paladin, always still really good. Cheat out your Librams, cheat out your big minions, slap it onto a Chillblade champion to OTK, disrupt with Cold Feet, Rebuke, all that good stuff. Just find Interstellar Star Slicer, find Aldor Tenant, and everything basically becomes free really darn quickly. Holy Wrath Paladin is absurd. You could turn 4, turn 3 OTK if you're really talented with the whole sharp-eyed lookout, letting you know what you're going to draw. So sometimes you know you're gonna get Ceaseless, so Holy Wrath, or you can overplan, set it up that way. You can dredge as well, and if you've drawn it, you can Finley it, put it at the bottom of your deck, and then kill your opponent. And yeah, it's pretty weak to certain aggro decks, but you have stall with like timeout, and just showdown into Prismatic Beam can just solo matchups. Discard Warlock. I got Legend with this deck last season, and I would beat Discard Warlock even without Holy Wrath. I would just showdown Prismatic Beam, and that would basically be it. That would be the game. And yeah, Holy Wrath Paladin is pretty good. Discard Warlock, cheat a bunch of stats, draw a lot of cards, deal a bunch of damage to Soul Barrage, could do a lot of good work. Discard cards have never been better in Wild. You got Chamber of Visitus, Tiny Knight of Evil, a ton of cheap cards, and even some listed like this one running Cursed Souvenir as an extra buff for your minions to try and kill even quicker, and it's doing really well. Big Shaman always does well because, well, you could tutor your Muck Morpher with your Fairy Tale Force. You could discount it with Gavel, then cheat out a big minion, reincarnate it, probably win if you don't, go again, and Devolve can really help against a lot of the popular decks in Wild right now too. So a pretty decent pick against, like, you know, the Discard Warlocks and all of that. And lastly, yeah, Quest Priest is legit. Like, Jin hit Legend with it, a friend of mine yesterday. I believe the win rate on it is really solid, Diamond through Legend, and it's a really cool, fun deck that actually uses Raw Den pretty darn well, completing your quest, bringing back your reward with like Amulet of Dying, proccing the Death Rattles with his Zarella the Devout, having incredible board clears with Zarella herself, and cheating out giant minions like Grave Horror and Gladesong Siren. Really solid quest deck in Wild, and way better than it is in Standard. Although the quest is also good in Arena. So there you go. Bunch of decks. I recommended as many as I could that I felt comfortable with in Standard. There's actually a lot to pick from. It's just, to me, not a ton of fun and not a lot of new stuff. Anyways, good luck on your climbs. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.